Yeah, and there is that emotional connection that we have with food, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. So a lot of the people try to numb themselves with food or to not really find pleasure through food. For a lot of people, food is just fuel. You eat and you keep going. But for me, and I think for a lot of Italians, is like connection. And there is an emotional connection with the food. So when you eat it, it reminds you of that time. So from like the lasagna for me.
Hey, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. Dave here again. Hi, nice to have you here. Living the Next Chapter welcomes Sara Garofalo today, fresh back from a trip to see her family in Italy, back to California where she resides. Sara joins us to talk about her coaching programs that she offers, and also about a book she's co-authored and her new book that's coming, which will include some great Italian recipes, photographs from home, and some comfort food for you to share with your family. We talk about all things Italian. To our Italian listeners, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. Sara has some messages just for you and her Italian family. Welcome to Living the Next Chapter. Here we go, guys. Thanks for listening. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Living the Next Chapter. I have a wonderful guest with me today. It's amazing. All of our guests are wonderful. So I say that every time, but it's really true this time. Sara Garofalo is here with us. She is an author, also a co-author, fresh back from a trip to see family in Italy. Viva Italia. She's here today with us. So great to have you with us. Sara, hello. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you, David, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So can you say something to our Italian listeners today to welcome them to the podcast, please?
Benvenuti alla nostra podcast.
See, I have no idea what you said, but it sounded gorgeous. I love Italy. I love the Italian language. It's so beautiful. It just sounds like a song. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So you had a great trip to your family, we just mentioned. So what's the weather like in Italy right now?
Oh, it's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Very, very hot and sunny. So it was amazing. I love the hot weather.
So Speaking of hot and sunny, you're also in California now. So is it similar in feel, or is it completely different?
So the California weather is hot and dry, versus the Italy weather is very humid and it's hot, but more humid.
Okay.
So different. And here it's very windy in California, but it's still very sunny. And I love the sun. I have to be around the sun all the time.
Well, you wouldn't enjoy Canada in February. I'll put it that way. It's pretty cold. It can be sunny, but not so nice, not so warm. So awesome, Sara. So you are an author. You have co-written a book with a guest that we've had on the podcast already as well. And you have a coaching program. You have a website. You are also writing your own book, which is exciting. It's going to have some kind of recipes, all this good stuff going on. So let's start with your coaching program. Tell us a little bit about what you do and who you help.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am an intuitive health and life coach who helps women get to the root cause of their weight gain and digestive issues through a mind, body, and soul transformation. So pretty much to break it down, like I help busy women to ditch the diet and the diet mentality to embrace this lifestyle, which is based upon the mind-body connection. So they need to understand that we are all connected. We need to be treated as a whole. And they need to finally become more intuitive about their body so that they don't read a meal plan. They know. I think that's super, for me at least, very powerful when you don't listen to the external information. I mean, you can, but then you have to make the decision based upon like your hunger cues and the signals that your body's sending you.
Okay. And there's so many people in the diet health space trying to get better, and they go buy a program, they purchase something online, and they sit there by themselves and try to figure out what do I do? And there's nobody there to help them and to coach them and to guide them. And they just need that support. They need that motivation, which sometimes we don't have. Is that something that you offer as well, that kind of community?
Absolutely. So what makes them successful is the accountability and the community.
Okay.
Because without that, like you said, you sit there and you don't know what to do and you don't follow through your goals because who cares? It's just you, right? Mm-hmm. But if you have someone to keep you accountable, you're going to do the things. I promise you that that's what I see. And then you get better, and that it becomes a habit once you do it over and over again.
So when you think of some of your clients, Sara, that have come to you, is there anybody that just kind of comes to the top of your mind that's like a success story that you're proud of? Somebody that came to you in one way and now they have seen great growth and change, and you're just like, it gets you excited when you think of that person. Is there somebody that sticks out for you?
Yeah, absolutely. This was awesome client. Her name is Barb, and she came to me in her 60s. And I love this story because she came in after menopause, right? And she had been following a diet. She was exercising 3 to 4 times a week, but she couldn't lose the weight. So over the course of like 10 weeks, she was able to lose 15 pounds without dieting. And then she kept it going. She maintained it and she lost over 20 pounds. So she showed me a picture, and I still have it, after 90 days with her wedding dress on.
Oh, wow.
Of like 20 years ago.
Wow.
And she's still now living her best life she's now like 63. Mm-hmm. And for me, like when I see her, I'm like, you're vibrating full of joy and light and life. So that's success awesome. Story.
I love that, Sara. That's great. So what is maybe one of the dangers of carrying excess weight all the time? Like, what can it do to your body? Dieting can be about how you look and how you feel, but there's some really significant health issues with carrying a lot of extra weight. And why is it important to lose that weight?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is obviously one of the main concern of the women that come to me because they're older and they're like, well, I'm starting to notice health issues, arthritis, diabetes, maybe, or high blood pressure, joint aches and pain, not to mention mental fogginess and like lack of energy. But we're talking more about like it could lead to potential heart disease, and or high blood pressure is harmful to your health and well-being. And I see a lot of arthritis these days, poor circulation and just pain.
Yeah.
So much pain and inflammation in the body.
Excellent. So what does a coaching program look like with you, Sara? Like somebody wants to get in touch with you, and you can mention the website as well, but what does it look like day one when they sit down and talk with you? How do you take them from the beginning and through the process?
So I set up free consultation because I want to listen to where they're at. I want to listen to their story because I cannot treat Barb like a Susan.
Okay.
They have different history. They have different family dynamics. I look at everything. And then I create a roadmap based upon like their needs and what they need to achieve in order to see the results in that amount of time. Now, it's a short amount of time, but if you do it right, they're able to maintain it because that's the goal. Mm-hmm. I'm teaching you everything so that you're not codependent or dependent on another diet. And you have the information to keep going. So pretty much I write down the roadmap, and sometimes I have to start with behavioral therapy, which is like creating more mindfulness throughout the day. We start there, especially if someone has had a history of eating disorder. But then we go into gut health protocol. So we're starting to help the gut heal and lower the inflammation in the body. Consequently, like they will notice like major like weight loss, like pretty fast, because we're not on a diet, but we are improving their gut health. They started to have more energy, more mental clarity. And then kind of the last step, we focus a lot on intuitive eating and Ayurveda, which teaches you how to eat for your mind-body constitution, for you. And that's their last step, so that they continue this journey with me or with themselves, and they feel connected.
Excellent. And so that accountability is built in there. They have the chance to do life with you. You're available to them through the process. They're not doing this by themselves.
No, I'm there every week with them. So we meet over the course of 10 to 12 weeks. Every week, I see them, I talk to them, we go over the progress, we set new intentions, so they never feel alone. They need to do the work, but I'm there to support them emotionally and not physically in terms of like the nutrition guidelines, but a lot of accountability they receive.
And this can be done virtually, so we don't have to live in California to access your program and to access you as a coach. We can do this over online, and we can work together, right? Okay.
Yeah, I have clients all over the US right now.
Beautiful. That's great. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the book that you co-authored with your writing partner, and I think you have a copy there in front of you, right?
I do.
Oh, product placement. See right there. Prosperity Codes. There it is right there. Beautiful. Can you tell us a little about this, your co-author, and maybe the process of co-authoring a book together?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a book all about how to attract abundance and wealth and joy. And we co-authored, myself and other 14 women, I believe. And it was all about tuning into what prosperity means to us. And I loved the process of writing this chapter, because I didn't come from a wealthy background. I had a very traumatic event happening. I got divorced right before the pandemic. It was a high conflict divorce. I had a restraining order. I had 2 kids under 3, and I was a massage therapist and Ayurvedic counselor at that time. So everything shut down for me. And I was like, okay, it's like zero, like rock bottom. So I talk about that in the book and how I turned my life around in 2 years. And if you think about 2 years, yes, they are long, but if you think about a lifespan, it's a short amount of time. Yeah. And I worked a lot on mindset, body alignment, feeling good. And I talk about how to manifest joy and not just financial abundance, but everything. And I share that in my chapter, because I needed to be there for my kids, you know?
So tell me a little bit about what prosperity then means to you.
So prosperity to me, it's the alignment. I talk about this between mind, body, and soul. When you live your purpose, you feel good within your body, and you are healthy mentally healthy and stable, and you focus on gratitude, and you know how to process your emotions, then things and the universe start to manifest. Mm-hmm. And the universe is always helping you. Mm-hmm. So
as you invest in yourself internally, gives you strength for the external that come and try to pull you down or. make things
Yeah.
worse. You're building yourself up internally and making yourself stronger all the time.
Yeah. So what you're touching upon is the quantum journey. So you can shift internally to manifest a different reality externally. So I use that. Yeah.
Interesting, because I think a lot of people spend a lot of time focused on increasing their external strength, whether that's in a nice car, a nice house, a nice life, money, things, and don't spend much time internally building themselves up as a person. So when tough times come, they lose some of those external things, but they're now realize how weak they are internally because they've never invested in themselves, right? They surround
Absolutely.
themselves with other things to make themselves feel better, but neglect to spend the time on themselves. So you're talking more about building that inner person up, and the external things can come and go, but you're still a strong person at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's your strength is you. And I've learned that through my own experience when there was a time where I didn't have anything, like nothing, zero money, zero like material things besides like the time and quality time with my kids. But that's when I realized that the internal wealth was greater than the external came as a consequence.
So let's update everybody as far as where you are now. Are you in a better place because of that process? Are things getting better for you?
Absolutely.
Okay,
No,
good.
I'm far beyond that moment. My business is thriving, and I just co-authored a book. I'm about to publish my own book, and I'm really happy living my life purpose, being a mom, conscious parent, and living my best life here in California.
Nice.
Yeah.
So during that time when things were dark and not so positive, could you have imagined your life right now to be the way it is?
It was like a dream, but now I'm living that dream.
Good. See?
If
Very
that
good
makes
goal.
sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Right? That's amazing.
Exactly.
See? So that's what I love to hear, right? When we talk about the pandemic, we talk about all the struggles that the global community has been going through for the last few years. During this time, many people have found a new life, a new purpose, a renewed purpose. They've gone from a great resignation as far as maybe where they used to work or how they used to do life, but a reinvention of who they are, and come out the other side of this amazingly terrible time for everyone, but come out with like a totally new perspective. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I think it was a powerful time for everyone.
Yeah. And
to
I love
reset.
Yeah. And you've harnessed that, and you've tapped into that and turned it something negative into something positive. So amazing. Amazing. So, okay. So that is talking about the book that you've co-authored. So that's amazing. But now, coming up later on this year, we're talking about a book that's going to be coming that you're writing by yourself. And I'm excited because this seems like a very unique project, something I've never heard any other author come on the podcast to talk about. Can you share a little bit about the inspiration behind your new book? And I know we don't have a title yet, but we'll have you back for sure when it's ready. But can you give us some inspiration, a little behind the scenes on what's coming?
Yeah, absolutely. So this book, is so important to me because it is the combination of what I've learned from my Italian culture. I was born and raised in Italy over there for 20 years of my life, and it had a huge impact around food and lifestyle and all of those things. But it is a combination between that and Ayurveda, which is the most ancient healing science on the planet, originated in India more than 5,000 years ago. It's a very ancient holistic science, the science of life. So I'm combining those to give people the tools to heal their relationship with food, their body, and to potentially reverse health issues because, food is medicine. So there are going to be a lot of Italian recipes with a twist of Ayurvedic medicine in there. And the first part is all about healing my relationship with food, but also the tools that I've used, so that when you read it, you understand the energies, the mind body constitution, the gut health, and the benefits of working on your gut health, and all of those tools that are necessary for this change. So
I have some Italian friends here in where I live, and I know for them that food is community, food is family. You sit around the biggest table in the house. You are not allowed to go in the kitchen when whoever is cooking. You're not allowed in there. No, you get out. But you have such a family connection all around food and coming together as a family. Is that something that you still see in your family? Maybe when you were back home as well? Is that still part of the community?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had tons of meal times together, and it's not just 30 minutes. It's hours around the table, right?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like, coming from 3 years straight, like in America, during the pandemic, I was like, oh, wow, I remember, but I haven't experienced it in 3 years. And it's beautiful to sit there and to digest the food, but also to come together as a community.
Yeah, you're not sitting in your living room with a little pillow on your lap, eating quickly before you go to your next thing. No. This is an event. And I know when I go to their home to eat, I'm never done. I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm good. I've had enough. No. You're not done. Next course. You're like, when is this stopping? Am I here for the next 3 days? I have no idea what's going on. But I love just that community. And like you said, it's not rushed. It's just family time. This is our community. This is our time around food. This is time where we connect. And it's a lot different than our culture normally does around Western culture, where it's just, fast food and go. And no. We take our time with our food and our meals together. I've always admired that from the Italian culture. I find inspiration in that personally. And I really enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy that too. And also, there's so much love that you feel when someone is preparing a meal. It's kind of like their love language.
Yeah,
if someone is preparing a meal for you and inviting you, it's their love language. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So you mentioned, I think earlier before we hit record, that you were taking some photos when you were back home in Italy as well. Are they going to be part of the book?
They are. Yes. Great. And we had that family dinner. Think about, my family wasn't even the complete, like, full-blown family, but we were in like 16 already, and we were at a agriturismo. So it's kind of like not a farm. It's not a farm. It's a restaurant in the vineyards of Italy.
Oh, wow.
And we had lunch in a beautiful, like, green grass field all around the table, enjoying this beautiful meal that took us like 3.5 hours. I mean, they kicked us out at 11 p.m. we were there since 7, actually.
Wow. So your new book's going to include recipes. From the recipes that you're contemplating putting in this book, is there one recipe that stands out to you that's, if you make this dish or this dinner, this feels like home for you?
Yeah. When you ask me that question, I immediately think about the lasagna dish. This book is going to be gluten-free and dairy-free, but I'm not taking away from the pleasure and the quality of the food. That is staple. Like the lasagna that my mom made me for over 20 years, I reproduced it in a gluten-free and dairy-free version, but it tastes the same way.
Nice.
And whenever I make it, I'm like, I become a child again.
It's great, right? It's that connection with food. It's just amazing. It takes you someplace. you know.
Yes.
I have my grandmother's recipes for baked goods and dinners, and the moment you smell it, the whole house smells like it. You just go back to when you were a child. You can picture it. It's amazing the power of food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there is that emotional connection that we have with food, whether we want to acknowledge it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the people try to numb themselves with food or to not really find pleasure through food. For a lot of people, food is just fuel. You eat and you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, and I think for a lot of Italians, is like connection. And there is an emotional connection with the food. So when you eat it, it reminds you of that time. So from like the lasagna for me.
Amazing. Okay, so Sara Garofalo is here with us. So loveholisticliving.com is the website for Sara, to get in touch with her for her coaching, for her to help you. If you want a great Italian recipe, it's coming. The book is coming with some great photos as well. Sara, it's so nice to have you on the podcast. What I'd love to do, because we talked about this before we record, we have some listeners in Italy. We've had listeners in Malta, which is amazing as well. But for our listeners in Italy today, before we go, can you give them a message from Sara in California and just thank our listeners in Italy just for being part of the podcast today from you?
In English?
Let's do, can you do both for me?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I'll say
no
it in
pressure,
English
right? No pressure.
So I just want to say thank you for listening and being part of this episode and this podcast, because it's truly an amazing gift that David is sharing with the world.
Thank you.
And in Italian, grazie a tutti per aver ascoltato questo episodio. È davvero un dono stare tutti con voi e contribuire al mondo e condividere il mio messaggio, e spero di conoscervi e vedervi presto.
Our Italian listens just went through the roof right there. That was great, Sara. Thank you so much. Everybody, make sure you go to the website, loveholisticliving.com. This is Sara Garofalo, our special guest today. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast. We'll definitely have all the links and everything in the show notes. Please go there. And like I asked earlier, when the book is ready, please come back, because I would love to have you back and share. And I'd love to see some of those photos too. That'd be great.
Oh, yes. I'll start posting them. Yeah.
Excellent.
Soon. Thank you so
Everybody,
much.
Sara Garofalo is here. Thank you so much, Sara. Have a great day. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Hi, guys. This is Dave from Living the Next Chapter, a podcast designed to connect authors and audiences. We're always on the lookout for our next interview. If you're an author, a publisher, and you have a book, whether you're just starting, whether you're halfway through writing, or it's all done and you want to tell the world, that's why we're here at Living the Next Chapter. Get in touch with us through livingthenextchapter.com, contact us, and let's set up some time together to discuss your book, to discuss your project, and how we can get you on the show. My name is Dave, and I would love to speak to you. So go to livingthenextchapter.com, and let's get over there together and discuss all the great things that you're up to as an author, as a publisher, and let's grow your audience together. Join us on livingthenextchapter.com for great authors and an audience that's eager to hear about what you're up to as an author and a publisher. Contact us today, and let's get your book out in front of others. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Mindshift Power Podcast, the podcast for teenagers and those who work with them. There's a huge problem in America today. There's a very large disconnect between teenagers and the adults who work with them. I'm looking to bridge that gap with real, raw, honest conversation, not held back by the chains of political correctness. You cannot solve a problem you do not understand. Want to understand teenagers today? listen to this podcast. This podcast is for teens in the U.S. and Canada. To learn more, go to fatimabay.com/podcast or just look for Mindshift Power Podcast on any listening platform. I look forward to you being a faithful listener.